Sit back and relax. You're listening to episode 185 of the WealthTech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. And this podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices about wealth management technology. My guest for this episode is Matt Middleton, co-founder and CEO of Advisor Circle. Matt is also the co-producer, along with Josh Brown, of the Future-Proof Wealth Tech Festival. Matt is a serial conference builder. He's built multiple conferences and sold multiple conferences, including not only Future-Proof. He also founded the Wealth Stack Conference when he worked at Informa. And before that, he founded the Inside ETFs Conference and then sold that. I've never heard of a serial conference builder. Very impressive work on Matt's part. And it was a terrific interview. We covered the incubator, the product incubator that Advisor Circle is running and some new products they're working on, as well as a new software product that Advisor Circle themselves is launching to help revolutionize how you meet people at conferences. So interesting to talk about that. And of course, what's going to be happening at Future-Proof 23. And speaking of going to great conferences, if you are an executive of a wealth tech firm, you're probably going to a few conferences yourself. And if you're selling software to RIAs, broker-dealers, asset managers, TAMPs, or other firms, then you should run, not walk, to our website, EzraGroupLLC.com, and fill out the Get in Touch form on our homepage. Our industry experts can deliver a wide range of advice, including competitive analysis, new product evaluations, market insights, strategic advice, client buying decisions, integration development services, which is a new one, and a whole lot more. Every vendor needs these things to be successful, especially when entering new markets. And you can get on the right track by going to EzraGroupLLC.com. A few quick housekeeping notes before we continue. We support a number of nonprofit organizations that do fantastic work for a variety of causes. And one you should check out is the Invest in Others Foundation, which you can learn more about at investinothers.org. Please subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. And now, let's kick this thing off. I'm stoked to introduce our next guest on the program. It is co-founder and CEO of Advisor Circle, Matt Middleton. Hey, Matt, welcome.
Hey, Craig, thanks for having me.
It's great for you to be here. I'm glad we could coordinate this. Matt, where are you calling in from?
So I am in central Massachusetts, about 30 miles west of Boston. I'm a New Yorker at heart, though, so I always make a point to say that I spent most of my life in New York. My wife is from Massachusetts, so I bit the bullet and the things you do for love.
There you go. Well, it's finally getting nice up there.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Did all the snow melt?
Yeah, so it was actually interesting because this year, while it was cold most days, we didn't really get a lot of snow. Which is funny because I grew up a city kid, but where we live, we're, about half hour away from a mountain, half hour away from the city. And so that was one of the selling points of, it's better to, raise a family and you have all these things. And, much of what I think of New England, I haven't been able to experience in the last 4 years. So, I'm still waiting for that big snowstorm.
Well, the most important part about moving to New England, you didn't become a Patriots fan, did you?
No. So, and my son, he's a 100% Giants fan to the point where he wears a Giants jersey almost every week to school. And my wife, he's 7. So my wife is always talking about, you can't let him do that. He's going to get bullied. He's going to get picked on. I'm like, no, this is the world we live in. You made me move. I select the teams.
Right. Yes. You choose location. I choose sports.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I know how he feels. I live in Woodbridge, New Jersey, so northern New Jersey, where everyone here is Giants fans, a couple Jets fans sprinkled around, and I'm an Eagles fan, so I feel him.
You know what's funny? So I spent a lot of time in Woodbridge, and I find Woodbridge is the cutoff point in New Jersey where it could go either way. You could be, a Giants Jets fan, or you could be the Eagles fan. And it's very hard when you're out and about making that assumption. I've learned the hard way a couple of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a diehard Giants fan, so I'm talking about the Giants. And then it's like, yeah, wrong audience.
Read the room. Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to do a separate sports radio talk podcast later, but let's just jump into Advisor Circle. Can you give us a 30-second elevator pitch?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Most people, who know me will probably know me as the creator of Future Proof, which is the world's largest wealth festival. But I think it's important to talk about really what Advisor Circle is, because that's the engine that produces Future Proof. So Advisor Circle is a influential and culturally relevant product studio. And our thesis is really, we want to build products and develop partnerships with people who have a vision for building a modern wealth management and financial services industry. And that's a very philosophical statement, but really our kind of belief or thesis is that the industry that is financial services could be way different than it is today, and it needs to be, and it could be more creative, it could have more impact, it could be more innovative, and of course it could be more fun. And so we simply build products that push the world in that direction.
I don't know of any other companies in our space that describes themselves as a product studio. So I think it's an innovative name, an innovative way to look at things when you talk about that you're a culturally relevant, tech-enabled product developer. Can you give us an example? Like, you've created some other product before. What's the previous product you built and what gave you the impetus to build that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Advisor Circle has been established or been around since fall of 2020. So at that time, think of it, we were in the midst of a global pandemic. You're pretty much spending most of the time with your loved ones in your own home. The world was shut down. And so at that point, we looked at it and looked at our space and said, well, there's a few different things that we think long-term will play out. One, from an event space. So, just to kind of take it a step back, we're a team of 12. My team has, decades of experience within asset management, financial advice, fintech, financial media, B2B events, and PR. And so it's an interesting intersection of, kind of expertise, if you will. And so when you start to think about the products that we look to create, to date, we have really 3 brand products, or we have 2 current, 1 we sold. So the first product out of Advisor Circle's product studio was Exchange, which is now known as the world's largest ETF conference. It was a joint venture partnership with, at the time, a company called ETF Flows, which is now known as Vetify. And so, from ideation to exit for us, it was about an 18-month period of time. And at that point, we were able to, fight the realities of not being able to get in person, establish a large-scale event. By large-scale, I mean over 1,000 people attending. And now it is known as the world's most influential and largest ETF conference. And so it brings over 1,600 attendees, mostly financial advisors. It brings the entire ETF ecosystem together annually. And so when we launched that, it's our background. A couple of us have some history in the ETF space specifically, so it was a passion. We have a huge Rolodex in that space. But when we looked at the market, we basically realized that live events were going to come back and that they were going to be more meaningful. And so at that time, if you recall, fall 2020, most of the talk was hybrid events, right? Or digital only, and that live events are dead, because why would you ever, risk your health by traveling across the country for a few days? Or why would you ever leave the convenience of your home or, away from your family? And I think the reality is that while the virtual world offers us a lot of amazing benefits, it doesn't solve the full need of what live events do, right? Which is connecting people, allowing you to grow your business, allowing you to get out of the norm and the structure of your life and push boundaries, right? And so, our thesis was, with all of the live events we've created to date, is actually build a more modern platform and give people a reason for wanting to come together and actually break down the fragmentation and silos that typically happen within these live events. And so, to date, we have Exchange, which, again, as I mentioned, we sold that in October last year to Vetify, and they're running that. And I actually attended as an attendee this past February. It was an amazing event. We have Future Proof, which is the world's largest wealth festival. Last year, we had over 1,700 people attend. This year, we're planning for 3,200. And then we have a new technology that integrates. It's interesting because it could operate horizontally through our existing businesses and events, or it could be a vertical business itself. And that's called Breakthrough. And really, when you think about Breakthrough, what that is it solves a very important need for live events, which is most live events are hard to quantify in terms of value and ROI. And that's no matter where you are. So if you're an attendee participating, you're met with so much excitement. There's a lot of activity. You're getting inundated with content, people, business cards. And then in the moment, you're like, wow, this is the best experience. What typically then happens, and I'm sure you face this as well, is you leave there and you're like, wow, what are the takeaways? There's too many. I look at my notes. I don't remember everything. Maybe I lost a couple of business cards. And then you go on to the next thing. And then for sponsors, the same way, right? People spend a lot of money participating in these events. And for the most part, it's very qualitative in terms of, the feeling towards the ROI, right? You expect an attendee list. It's usually stale or, stagnant on arrival. You then create this situation where you're going into it and just shipping emails and trying to get momentum. And ultimately, you come back and you're waiting for salespeople to say, was that a good event? Or was I next to the coffee? Was it good traffic? And so Breakthrough, and we'll get into more of this, but Breakthrough looks to solve much of the need of live events and providing real value and real connections.
You jumped way ahead of me, Matt. I had a whole bunch of questions. You just
and
answered
the podcast is over.
And we're done. That's a wrap. Nice to meet you, Matt. So let's roll this back. The product studio, you created Exchange. In 18 months, you sold it. Then you started. Now that Exchange is an event you sold. The Future Proof is an event, but a Breakthrough, this Breakthrough product, which is also called Breakthrough, is a piece of software, which is a conference meeting app. That's very different than the other two. So
yes,
so how do you describe that, and why is this app different from all the other conference apps that I can set up meetings with Umbrella, the little plugin, and see the agenda? What is going to be better or revolutionary about Breakthrough that's going to want me to use it at every conference?
Yeah, so Breakthrough solves the biggest need, which is meeting and just discovering, meeting, and maximizing the time on site. So most of these other apps or meeting softwares at events, they will throw in the magnificent buzzword of 2023, which is AI, and they are the greatest matchmaking software in the world. And frankly, we're not that. What we did is take 15 to 20 years of experience in running live B2B events in the wealth management space and built a system that affords people the ability to maximize their time. And so let's talk about the process of it. Most people talk about, and my belief, and I'm sure you probably agree, is like, if you have to lead in with like, here's what the technology is, it actually is not great technology, right? We talk about the outcome. What does it solve?
Mm-hmm.
And so live events, let's talk about the old or current model with live events. So live events, you sign up whatever period of time before the event, and then you forget about it. And typically what happens is 2 weeks before the event, the announcement comes out, you download an app, and you start to hopefully plan your schedule, book the sessions you want to attend. You start to see, who else that you may know or who else you might want to meet with at the event and start messaging them. That's a lot of work to create a successful pre-event strategy, alongside all of the other things you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And then, of course, on site, your schedule just goes crazy because maybe you bumped into someone and, that 1 minute passing turns into a 15-minute conversation, and now you're late for your session or you're late for your next meeting, and then it's a snowball effect. For what we did with Breakthrough is say, how do we solve the most basic need? With people want to meet with others. That's why they're coming to live events post-pandemic. You could argue content, which used to be the sole purpose or the most important purpose for people attending events, is secondary to meeting and discovering and getting business done or partnerships done. And so when thinking about that, what we did with Breakthrough is we integrated it into everything we do. So within our registration process, we already start to collect unique data that allows us to present individuals and companies to other attendees at the event for the purposes of meeting. And so through registration and through what we call profile completion stage, which is a moment in time about 2 months before the event, we collect about 120 unique data points on each individual attendee. We then take that data, we validate it and verify it, and then we present it into an application. And it effectively is, LinkedIn Sales Navigator meets Match.com without the cringe. And at that point, what it does is psychologically changes the dynamic of how you perceive live events, which is usually it's a 3 to 4 day experience or 2 day experience. And in this case, now it becomes a 2 to 3 month experience, because 6 to 8 weeks before the event, you now have completed your profile stage, and now you're starting to see all of the other attendees, all of the other companies that are participating alongside you at this event. You cannot message them. So again, it's not to distract or just create another, social media, quasi-social media platform. But what it does is it allows you to segment the audience, understand who's coming, and it creates a series of prompts, which is, would you want to meet with this person? I'm highly interested, somewhat interested, or there's no prompt at all, which means there's no interest. And then each week, what we do is we push out those requests to other people. And so each week, everyone logs in all together at the same time, and you're getting met with a whole series of people that have requested meetings with you. Simply approve or put a maybe. And then there's a series of prompts which basically guide you to say, if you're looking to meet with 100 people, you probably should send 300 invites. And so each week, what happens is you're building momentum towards this moment in time where we're all going to get together in person. And then the system where the magic really is not only the discovery, which was what I just explained, is the workflows within it that makes a really frictionless experience for you to maximize meetings on site. And so through the program, we're going to have all attendees have the ability to have up to 24 15-minute intro meetings with people. And the real magic is it's double opt-in. So both people coming to that meeting have mutual interest in connecting. And that could be for a whole host of different use cases. It could be buyer seller, right? Think about it. Advisor to asset manager, advisor to fintech company to fintech company, because they're talking about partnerships and integrations. It could be private equity to advisor, because maybe they're looking to, buy or, focus on M&A activity. Or you start to, someone like you've worked in this space for so long, and you see the evolution of the space. You could start to see when you put 3,000 plus people together that aren't just one job function across a vast industry, how many different ways are there for those individuals to meet? And that's really where the magic happens and the technology works.
You said a lot there, Matt. I'm taking notes. Where are you getting the 120 data points on each attendee, and what are you feeding that into? Is this is it like an AI machine learning system? What exactly is going on in the back end?
Yeah, so we're very big on data here. I think one of the biggest issues with live events is lack of verified data. And we simply ask. So think about data at most events. It is, I go and register and I say, I'm Matt Middleton. And let's say I go to an advisor event. I could say I'm a financial advisor. I could say I manage, $5 billion. I could say, I'm a CTO at that advisory firm. Most events take that as gospel, right? They simply say, okay, great. Matt Middleton, CTO of $5 billion RAA. He's coming to our event. And then that information is shared without my consent across the entire universe, right? And then it creates a whole series of unsolicited inbound requests. And we do this song and dance, which is poor data creates, poor experiences for everyone and creates zero results. And so what we did is saying the most important thing we could do, and for how Breakthrough is really successful and working, is we have to verify and validate this data as much as we can. And so what we do is we simply ask, so self-selected data, so registration and profile completion, you as a participant in the event is saying, I want to participate in the event. Here's the data I need to provide in order to do that. And that allows us to decide which is the right ticket type, obvious. The next step to this process is, assuming you want to meet others at the event, you could sign up for Breakthrough, available for all attendees. And that is another layer of data inputs, which is the profile completion stage. And in that part, we ask a whole series of questions about you, about your company, about what you're looking to get out of the event this year. And we basically put all of that together, the registration data alongside the profile data, and we create a unique user profile or unique company profile on each participant. And then that data is, when I say validated or verified, we use various things. For advisors, it's ADV reporting. We scrape that and we validate it. We make sure through like LinkedIn and other things that they say who they are, who they say they are, in both job function and title, and also the firm. And then on the industry side, it's doing due diligence on their products and offerings, and et cetera. And so that we know that the data presented inside our system is accurate, because if not, meetings are useless if that data or the intention of agreeing to meet was based on false data. And so that's how we do this. Again, I would love to say it's magic of AI and machine learning. It's not. It's a high quality and strict data and a series of workflows that really bring the magic to Breakthrough together.
I'm interested to see how this works. So when will it be available?
So we'll be starting to demo it early next month, so early May, to anyone who's participating in Future Proof. And then really the app will become live mid-June. And then the profile completion stage and this whole process, as I mentioned, will start to take shape in early July into the event, which takes place early September.
Right, but there's no messaging. So no one's going to message me. I'm not going to get flooded with emails in this app. It's just people making meeting requests.
Yeah, we actually take it a step further. So if you participate in Breakthrough, so let's talk about some of the hurdles, because I think it's important of why we did this, because to your point earlier, there's a lot of tools out there that claim to solve this need. Mm-hmm. What we looked at is, let's focus on the experience of all different parts, all different people that attend this event, right? And so let's take the advisor, who is our largest attendee participant. The financial advisor signs up to this event to learn, to meet other advisors, right? This is a B2B event. That's what they're coming for. What typically happens is there's a moment in time before the event where all sponsors get an attendee list. And now the experience of me, an advisor, is that I'm excited to be attending this event in a few weeks. And then out of nowhere, usually on an afternoon, I'm getting 100+ emails, depending on the number of sponsors that are at that event, asking me to meet with them, to come by their booth, to join their session, to do this meeting. All great intention, right? But it's unsolicited, and so it feels spammy. And so what that does then is create an in-person experience, which is, I'm a financial advisor. I don't want to be sold to. I'm guarded. I'm not going to, engage in the exhibits, area as much until the last day when I have to pick up some tchotchkes for my kids, right? And we do this whole thing again. And so it's just riddled with poor behaviors that create a poor experience on the advisor side. Now flip it on the other side, right? The product provider side. These folks spend an enormous amount of money, enormous amount of time preparing for these events. And so of course they want to maximize their opportunity. It's a great way to do it. The problem is they get this attendee list usually a few weeks out. The data is not validated or cleaned up. And so they spend a lot of time trying to take that spreadsheet, navigate it to their CRM, and pull out anything that could be useful. Ultimately, they're running out of time. So what tends to happen is they just take that list, they put it into MailChimp, and they send a series of emails out. And then you think about the volume. And so they're left with a poor response, or maybe they're just connecting with their current clients, not really opening up the opportunity for new clients that should be assessing. And so what we actually did with Breakthrough here is to say, hey, all participants, there's terms here, which is you are not allowed to go track this person down, send them an email. We're going to provide the system and the outcome for you. So we'll save you time, we'll save you energy, and we'll create a better experience for all parties. And so there's no more attendee list that's delivered to the sponsors, therefore no more spam emails to advisors in advance. Advisors get to control, they get to decide who they want to meet, right? Because it's double opt-in. And then for sponsors who are looking to create what is my serviceable addressable market at this event? Well, it's not 1,000 advisors that the event bills. There's probably a small subset of that are my true prospects. Wouldn't I want to know that? And with Breakthrough, you could do that in advance, because if there's no interest in meeting, you very quickly decide that, all right, let me go spend my time, energy, and resource on, this 100 people that could really move my business forward. And so obviously there's a steep educational and learning curve to this, but we built this to really solve this bigger issue with live events in our space, which is it's just a poor user experience all around.
It sounds fascinating. Let's see if it works. I can't wait to see my profile page
Yeah.
with my 120 data points. But I do like that you're getting rid of what I call the sponsor spam, where you get these emails. Hey, I see you're signed up for this conference. Come to see us in booth number 84,302 and check us out. And you get that over and over and over again before the conference. So definitely excited not to get the sponsor spam and see how this works and how you're going to track it and how it's going to help deliver some better, but really one reasons we're doing this is for networking. So you want to deliver better, more efficient networking through this app. And if you can do it, I see it becoming a very successful product.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Let's talk more about the product studio as an incubator. So you're seeing this as more of an accelerator or a venture arm, like a Y Combinator, those types of things. You're looking to bring in small companies and give them backing and support, or is it more of, hey, we're looking to just become more of a VC?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So to date, all of the products that have been incubated through the product studio, we've owned, either 100% have owned or owned 50%. Where you'll see Advisor Circle kind of grow into in the back half of 2023, and some of the announcements we'll have, which is we take minority stakes in established but new businesses that are inside our wealth management ecosystem. And in those ways, there's really three ways in which we participate with companies, right? We call it, it's the pre-product market fit. And those are companies who maybe that's an idea with strong founders or an opportunity to create a great product, but they don't have the sales and marketing acumen. And so we come in and partner with them, and we take a stake in return for our service. And the goal here with all of the companies that we bring into the product studio is that within a 3-year time horizon, we scale. We, as a partner, come in and help you build and scale to a point in which you could stand alone. You don't no longer need the services or the strategy of the product studio. And so the first part is pre-product market fit. We go from everything from product ideation to product strategy to go to market strategy, and then we help establish that. The second tier is your kind of post-market product market fit, which is there's an excitement around your product. You have some traction in terms of revenue. You are in a position of, I believe this business could double, triple in the years to come. I just don't have conviction on how to get there. And that's where you would join the product studio, where we, again, afford everyone the ability to help in strategy, in actual services ourselves, and then in some cases deploy capital into that company to get them to that next stage and that next level. Ultimately, after a 3-year time horizon, we almost pull out slowly into what that business could do, because they're at a trajectory that they can now be more self-sufficient. And then the last piece is us in more of there's two really ways here. One is a passive investor, so your traditional kind of VC, where we believe in a product, believe in its founders, believe there's an opportunity there, but they don't really need us. What they need is capital. And so what we do is we simply invest in that company, and we help, as a quasi-advisor role. And then there's another way in which we believe that this company has the opportunity to grow, but it needs our full commitment, meaning that we need to be a 50% stakeholder, or we simply should acquire the business outright and bring this, vision to life. And so in those cases, we would acquire an entity, or we would take a significant stake within that company and create more of a partnership model.
It sounds like something people want to get involved in. Firms that are looking for this type of support should be reaching out to you.
It is. It's interesting. We've had, just on the back of Future Proof, we've had a lot of fintech startups come to us and said, like, how are you able to, attract 900 financial advisors to this event that focuses on this? How do we work with you to get more access to them? And so, yeah, it's funny because I think the value prop of the product studio is, not only do we have a lot of experience as operators in this space, but we start to think about leveraging the other products in the studio. I think that's where the power really comes, and the ability to not only, it's the ability to create 1 + 1 = 3 versus, I'm sitting on my own island in a very competitive space, right? You and Michael Kitces do a phenomenal job with that fintech map, but I've been in this space for 10 years. My screen almost doesn't fit the map any longer. And so how do you compete in a very crowded space for attention and for market share? And so you start to think about, I need something that's unique. And I think we provide, with the product studio, a very unique way to go to market or to scale your business in ways that you couldn't do yourself.
Speaking of launching new products, why people would want to come work with you, the fact that you were able to launch a brand new conference, second new conference after the Exchange ETF conference, but to launch the Future Proof Festival and have it become a premier event right out of the gate, has got to impress a lot of people. Let's talk a bit about that. Last year, you had, in the first version of it, 1,700 attendees, pretty evenly split between advisors and service providers, which is also hard to do. Can you talk a little about what's going to be different this year's event and what can we expect?
Yeah, no, great question. So each year we have some key themes, and that is how we think about building the content and the agenda. That's how we think about creating the experience, quite literally on site, the activations, and how we connect people. And then of course the community and who are the people that are there that would want to meet with each other. And so, this year are, 5 key themes. The first one will probably be very unsurprising to most, which is, technology as an enabler. And we see the rise of AI and, what that means. And there's no shortage. You go on any social media platform, there's no shortage of, prompt experts, or, the AI is going to take over the world, and doomsday, or huge opportunity. And so it's noise. And what we are looking to do is bringing experts within the industry, as well as tech experts from outside of the industry that are AI experts, into our event to help guide advisors and other participants in the space to navigate this, technology, this AI opportunity, and really what it means for wealth management. So that's really the first, I would say, key theme. The next key theme is the uncertain macro environment, right? You start to think about this year, the last, 16 months or so, way different than the last, let's call it, decade before it. And what does that actually mean for financial advisors, especially financial advisors that, are in their 30s or early 40s? Most have never experienced something that we're experiencing now, and having conversations with their clients. And so what we're doing is bringing, leading, chief economists from some of the largest global asset managers together to help, calm the nerves of financial advisors and better support them in having those conversations with their clients. The third is democratization of alternatives, right? It seems like there is both a supply and a demand interest, right? There's a lot of alternative asset managers that are looking at the advisor, the intermediary market, and saying, well, hey, from an institutional side of things, like, there's a finite number of clients. where do I go when I'm looking to, raise my next fund, or I'm looking to do certain things? Well, this, intermediary market, specifically the RIA, is very attractive to them, right? And then on the demand side, we've seen over the last couple of years the rise of so many different alternative investing opportunities, and the demand from end clients to advisors on putting that into their portfolio or getting access or exposure or protecting them in that is challenging for advisors. And so for us, it's not only let's talk about the democratization of alternatives and all the opportunities that this affords us, but first, let's educate the advisors on what this actually means. And our biggest thing, and we've dealt with this in the ETF space for time. ETF at a moment was a very new product, and there are folks that knew it was a better product to the mutual fund, but didn't know enough about it and therefore didn't offer it to their clients. And we're seeing the same kind of evolution with alternatives now. And so we want to first bring in the alternative experts. We want to allow and provide a platform for advisors to ask those questions, and we want to equip them with the knowledge they need to figure out how best to provide this into an asset allocation. The fourth one, very obvious in our space, is practice management. For us, we think about it as, how do we provide clear tactics for advisors to create competitive advantages? There's a lot of opportunity out there, but there's also a lot of operational restriction when it comes from, I used to be a financial planner at a BD shop, and now I'm a business owner and an operator, and now I have to manage people. And it's far different than, being an entrepreneur and a business operator is being far different than just being a financial advisor. So we want to help folks think about how to best do that, whatever they see fit. And then the very last piece, the fifth one, is just thinking about, the ever evolving market that is, the financial advisor space. And so organic and inorganic growth strategies. And so we're bringing a lot of private equity and aggregator specialists there to, not only talk to advisors and that are maybe thinking about succession planning, or younger advisors that are maybe thinking about acquiring, books of businesses to grow their firm, right? We want to be the catalyst and platform for all of those conversations to come to light. So those are really the 5 key themes of 2023. Happy to kind of get into any more if you have any questions.
Any more? How many more themes can you have? That's a lot of themes, man. That took you 5 minutes. Like looking at the transcript here, that's a lot going on. AI, number 1. 2, uncertain macro environment. Number 3, alternative investments. Number 4, practice management. Number 5, growth strategies and M&A. And the word of the day, the buzzword of the day is democratization. We're democratizationing everything, right? AI, alternatives, everything. Make it a democracy, right? So last year you had 1,700. What's your guess for attendees this year?
Yeah, so I've been on the record saying by 2025, we want to have a 10,000 person citywide experience. And so our growth projection is to get 3,200 people in 2023. We're on pace right now. We're about 600 or so more than we were at this time last year. The both fun and thrilling excitement of these events is that you usually get about 50 to 60% of your attendee base registered within the last 8 weeks leading into the conference. But yeah, we're on pace for 3,200. Our bigger goal, and as you pointed out earlier, is to make sure that we have a good breakdown of the types of people there. So we really want to have around 1,700 financial advisors present, and the rest being really the entire industry, which to us is broken into 3 categories: asset managers, fintech and wealth tech companies, as well as financial services ecosystems. Those are your data providers, professional services companies, market makers, et cetera, that really look to work with the financial technology providers or the asset managers to serve advisors.
I've read the 10,000 person goal. That's an interesting, very, very high level goal, right? It's a reach. At some point you're going to go beyond the capacity of any normal venue. So how are you going to support this?
Well, yeah, no, it's a great point. So, the Future Proof Festival, it's funny, right? Because I think when we came out with the festival concept, we had a lot of naysayers and a lot of people almost scoff at the idea of, oh, you have a festival for wealth management. Like, what else is what else is going to happen? And it was fine for people to do that because I think it was so different. But our thesis has always been that by calling it a festival, by completely having it outdoors, by taking over 4 hotels, it affords us the ability to do things different from what we're all used to in a traditional, wealth management financial services conference. And that is that, by get to 10,000 people, we believe that so again, our view here is that we don't believe in zero sum as an ethos to our company. We believe in positive sum. And so we'll be partnering with other events that are maybe niche or maybe have cultivated an audience for a long-standing time, but are suffering either from a business standpoint or a growth standpoint post-pandemic to evolve. And so we'll provide them a platform where they can host their own events as part of the Future Proof Festival. So think of the festival as the outdoor experiential opportunity. And then within the indoor premise of these 4 hotels, all walkable, right? You could have a session that's focused on maybe for CEOs, or you could have, a marketing track that's only focused for CMOs, or you could have an alts, right? So you could get really you could build communities within the communities, very simply put. So that's our goal is, 10,000 wasn't just a fun, magical number that we positioned. We looked at the fractured nature of our industry and the amount of conferences that are in this space. And we thought that we could create a unique experience, being that, we're not selling anything else but an experience, right? Most of the largest events in our space are user conferences. They're the big custodial conferences or the big, advisor tech platform conferences. And so we feel that we have a unique position because we are truly the largest independent gathering for financial advisors. And most people, they kind of, take that for granted because you think of independent, they think independent financial advisors. It's actually not. It's the largest independent gathering, meaning that we're here to provide you an independent platform for you to get business done. We're not on stage selling our research, selling our, custodial services or what have you. We're putting the people on stage that we feel are the best to help you grow your business.
That is a worthy goal. So indoor plus outdoor, kind of like carpeting. You're indoor carpeting, outdoor carpeting, going to be doing both. And sounds like you're building more of a conference platform for other sub conferences to run on your back end.
Absolutely. Yep. We welcome everyone.
Speaking of welcoming everyone, I like to welcome everyone to the conference. I'll be there, so you can add one more to your list. And it's September 10th to the 13th this year in Huntington Beach, California. And we're out of time, man. I mean, we're over time. Where can people find out more information about Future Proof and Advisor Circle?
Sure. Advisorcircle.com to learn more about Advisor Circle. And if you want to register, see all the exciting things we have for Future Proof, it's futureproof.advisorcircle.com.
And before I go, one more thing. I heard you had 350 applications for speakers. Give me a couple of the speakers you're going to have. Come on, share some. What do you got?
I knew you were going to do this. So the truth is we're creating, we are announcing a new website in the coming weeks. We're getting ready to unveil the first 50 speakers. We're getting ready to announce our musical acts for the festival all within the next 3 weeks. So go to futureproof.advisorcircle.com, put your email in, sign up for updates, and we'll be sure to get it to you. But sorry, Craig, I'm not going to be dropping any excitement here.
Ouch. Oh, rejected.
My marketing team would kill me.
I'm slammed. Cool. No worries, man. Matt, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Really appreciate the time, Craig.
Hey, it's Craig again. That was an excellent episode. And here are my top 3 takeaways. Number 1, their new product called Breakthrough, the conference meetings app, sounds very cool. I go to a lot of conferences, probably 10 or 12 a year. And trying to organize who I'm meeting with and when I'm meeting them, it's lots of texting and emailing back and forth. I would love to see this app. He said it's like a LinkedIn Sales Navigator meets Match.com without the cringe. I'm really excited to take a look at that. The Advisor Circle Product Studio is now an incubator. They've got a venture arm looking at acquisitions. Didn't know about that. It's always good to hear. So any firms are looking for funding or have some interesting products, please give them a call. And of course, the Future Proof Festival is happening September 10th to the 13th, 2023 in Huntington Beach, California. And you can go to the website, futureproof.com, to register or find out more. And you made it to the end of another episode of the WealthTech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. Please go to our website, ezragroupllc.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and fill out the form to get our newsletter. Once a month, you'll receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, analysis, information, updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.